What's good? It's Casper. Today's video, I'm gonna be talking about the movie Land of the Lost. Land of the Lost is a 2009 film. It's rated PG-13 and it's an hour and 42 minutes. Directed by Brad Silberling. So we got Will Ferrell in this movie, and for me, Will Ferrell is one of those actors that has movies where they're just straight replayable. You can watch them over and over again, especially like Elf, Step Brothers. He's one of my favorite comedy actors ever, and it was really cool to actually get into his serious role, Stranger Than Fiction. This movie I was very late to, didn't even hear about it, probably saw pictures floating around with him and that dinosaur. Besides that, just late to this movie in general, seeing who was involved in this movie. I saw that Danny McBride was involved in this movie, and I'm like, bruh, I already knew the style vibe this movie was going to be presented, or had the feeling before even watching it. And literally I was kind of on the money, especially finishing the movie. This movie is literally a goofy, very terrible style movie where you could sit down and watch the goofiness right in your face. That's one of the things about movies like this, is that while you're watching this movie, if you're a huge movie fan or into watching like every era style movie, even the terrible ones and good ones, this was one of those movies that you appreciated, that the actors and people involved were just people that knew this movie was going to be terrible. These people who are acting in this movie could make it look goofy. Even with their serious characters and even serious lines, they make it literally a crazy left turn. And this whole movie is literally that, just straight where you're watching it, it's all goofy and a lot of dumb moments, a lot of cheesy moments. Getting into this movie was just another wow. Of course you would have Will Ferrell on board with this, and then seeing Danny McBride was just another addition to like, oh, I wonder what's gonna happen throughout this movie. So we have Will Ferrell playing the character Dr. Rick Marshall. In this movie he's a scientist. He has an assistant named Holly, who's played by Friel. In this movie he ends up getting sucked into some time traveling vortex, especially with the equipment that he had, and Will Ferrell's character Holly and Danny McBride's character randomly go into a crazy different universe, and this universe has like time traveling stuff. There's dinosaurs, there's like human lizards, there's also like Sasquatches there, Bigfoots, cavemen's floating around everywhere. But overall, the whole purpose of that universe is to show that they're time traveling and seeing a lot of crazy stuff, and the whole mission is to basically return back home. This is where you're seeing a lot of the movie take place. Me explaining it just sounds very hilarious, so that literally adds to the point of this was like a movie from people who understood like, hey, let's make a goofy movie, let's make some fans laugh at this project that we're coming out with. It's to each their own in this movie. Either you're gonna sit there and be like, this is a very boring dumb movie, or you're gonna sit there and be like, that was pretty hilarious how goofy and dumb it was. Will Ferrell did fit this role. I had a lot of moments in here where I feel like if you were there in person, that's where you would just be laughing on the floor, straight dying, losing air like crazy. He did have his moments where you could see he's serious, especially the scientist role. I thought that was just pretty hilarious, and mixing the interview that he had with Matt Lauer and trying to mix like a real life feel with his character, I thought they executed with just the look in general. Will Ferrell's lines, his presentation was pretty funny. There wasn't a standout moment. There wasn't really a moment where you could look back and be like, oh, that was memorable and you can quote it for days. There is funny moments, especially seeing his character go through it, and I think those moments when he goes through it is like definitely the highlights of Will Ferrell's character in this movie. It's like one scene where he's getting a lot of his blood taken out by that crazy insect. I thought that was just pretty funny because you're watching it and you're like, this dude does not feel this heavy ass insect on his back and his neck. Will Ferrell in general, you're not going to be mad bringing him on board, especially this storyline, but I feel like this storyline and the way they're presenting it probably could have fit for somebody else. I wouldn't be mad if they didn't have Will Ferrell in this one, but Will Ferrell did add to this vibe. This wasn't one of my favorite Will Ferrell movies, especially after it was done. I do feel like a lot of the movies that are still rewatchable, replayable for days are still his greatest ones, like Elf, Step Brothers, Blaze of Glory, movies like that in general. This one right here didn't have a feel where you could finish this movie and come back another day, or show a friend and be like, oh, I can't wait for them to see this moment and laugh. I think that vibe was more towards Danny McBride's character. He was actually one of the characters in this movie that actually had the shining moment, the perfect spot, the more, whoa, that was random, that was hilarious. He had more of the serious laughs in this movie for me, where I'm looking at it and I was like, yo, that was perfect. Perfect comedy, perfect projection. That was just hilarious how serious his character is. I feel like this storyline, this movie was definitely a Danny McBride style movie. You can just see with his acting that he's one of those characters just happy to show up to work. This dude's probably in his trailer has tree for days and he's just ready to go back out there and wait for the director to say action. Danny McBride plays the character Will Stanton. Very, very hilarious. It just reminds me of a trailer park personality. It kind of reminds me of just of someone you just know, and this dude's out there performing these lines, and when you're replaying it, you're like, dude, let's keep this. That was great. And his whole style was literally like that. Like, you couldn't believe that a lot of his line projection looked really good for how dumb it was. A funny moment that I had in this movie with his character was when he was chilling with the homie that he met in this movie, the caveman. Was asking Chaka if he's a cop, and I thought that was one of the funniest moments in this movie, because it's like you're time traveling and you're still asking a caveman named Chaka if you're a cop. Very top tier hilarious. The dinosaurs, the green screens, the time traveling in this movie just adds to this hilarious goofiness. Very unrealistic moments in here, adds to the comedy aspect to this movie. Very hilarious how they're trying to make Will Ferrell's character look like he could handle all these moments by either being very victorious personality, like he made it happen like a Hercules, or a smart know-it-all, knows all the facts about history. Like, his character is just very hilarious, and you can see throughout this whole movie how it's very implied in his characters. His assistant named Holly, who's played by Anna Friel, she did add to this movie on just the seriousness of what Will Ferrell was trying to do. Cool full blend. Gave me an aspect of like you're painting a picture and you kind of need all the colors to make this picture work, and she was a good color addition to this movie, if that makes sense. There is moments in here where they could have cut the time down, because there is like a mini drag feel where you could kind of get distracted easily while watching this movie. After my watching the movie Land of the Lost out of 10, I'm gonna have to give this movie a 4 out of 10. So that's my movie review for the movie Land of the Lost. Shout out to you guys for tuning into the video. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Peace, y'all.